All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So kind of a widespread here. I want to talk about KULR, SOUN, VFF, and KRON on this one, all right? So this one's starting to get popular, all right? And hey, let's be honest, if a stock can cross 100 million shares on a single day, yeah, there's a reason that this thing's going to get a little bit of attention, right? There was a big deal with Lockheed Martin. We actually were looking at this on the 21st, and someone put a screenshot of a partnership that I'll flash shortly. But yeah, look, there are a lot of people that are expecting a lot more on this. Right now, my only focus is the 200 moving average, all right? And truth be told, I think I'm actually a little bit concerned that this is going to drop, but I'm hoping that it's nothing but a healthy drop, all right? SOUN, I just made a video, I think on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even Wednesday. Friday was the holiday, right? So I don't know if my thoughts have changed too much, but I actually have not looked at that chart in a bit. So excuse me, sorry about that. Kind of a fresh view there. And then VFF and KRON, I've been saying for a couple of days I was going to cover. I do want to put it on this one, all right? So before we go any further, though, and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. I actually haven't drawn any, but I will draw some horizontal support and resistance lines manually myself, obviously. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to this channel, share this video online with your friends, comment good or bad. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms, but for real, just being here and giving me your time, oh man, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So let's get into KULR. And I'm a little surprised at how popular the stock is. I was going to say these random 4 letters, right? But KULR is definitely picking up some traction. And look, I am not here to talk about short squeezes, this and that, right? There's definitely some potential. And as I zoom out, I hope you see it. This is all about the 200 moving average, all right? That purple line has been a difficulty to say the least, right? Basically since 2022, right in the start of January 2022, we have been entirely under that line except for a 2-month period. Okay, so do not assume we're going to break this. This is a difficult line, all right? And really, as I just kind of look back in the history of the stock, this has been a little bit over it, but it's never actually been able to break all 5 and fly, right? Now, granted, volume's never been what it is now. And my immediate question is obviously going to be, is this volume going to hold or is this just going to kind of mess up our 50-day average, right? So you always want to zoom out and just look at the stock before you start making, because I'm telling you, I am seeing people talking about 70-ish cents. I'm seeing people talking about $1.50. Listen, this is not even a 40-cent stock yet, right? So keep realistic don't get me wrong, I would love 70 plus, right? Like, I'm not here pretending, no, but let's keep things realistic and go from there, all right? So again, I talked about the 200. I'll go a little more in depth up here, but in depth up here, I kind of struggled with that. Let's come down here to volume really quickly, all right? And before I talk about this monster few days, it's really important to remember, look, random January of this year, this stock was under 1 million shares traded, all right? We get a little closer, 1.2 million, all right? We get a little closer, 1 million, all right? I'm literally just clicking on random days and then reading the volume on the box over there, right? But this is a stock that's lived at 1 million shares traded, okay? When you all of a sudden more than 100x that, oh my goodness, right? There's 2 things that cross my mind. Number one, oh, there had to be some big news, and I wonder, how real it is, how sustainable it is, this and that, right? The other side of that coin is this going to be a pump and dump, okay? And I'm going to actually, let me just extend the view, because what I want to do, I'm going to extend the view, and then I'm going to go away from the immediate volume, all right? Let's just, boom, too far. Okay, there it is. This is the view. Okay, this is the view. You can basically see we are completely under that 50-day volume line pretty much this entire view. And if I had to guess, I think if I keep zooming back out, that's probably going to be the case. This is actually a stock that struggles to break that 50-day average, all right? Lo and behold, the last few days smash it. Oops. I don't even need to zoom in. You get it. It smashes, to say the literally every single day. I'm clicking on this one. This small candle was a 5 million. Our average was 2.6, right? Like almost 50%, right? So literally every single one of these has done amazing, all right? I quickly flashed it. I want to show this real quick. So this was actually a headline that got a little popularity on the chart reader Discord. You can see this is from the 21st too. So this is actually before the big pop. We were looking somewhere back here, right? And you know, I believe the news actually, sorry, I'm zooming in and out too much. Let me just say my thoughts on this. My cat's making some noise, sorry. When you've got a stock that's connected to these two companies, SpaceX and Blue Origin, you know, respectfully, these are probably the two most important dudes in the world, right? Like, let's be honest, right? So to me, every single stock is a random 4 letters. That's how I keep things as unbiased as I can, right? It adds some weight to these 4 letters when you've got these two in a partnership. You know what I mean? I really don't know what these other ones are. And what I was going to say is I believe, let me know if I'm wrong in the comments, please, but I believe this monster day was a Lockheed Martin contract partnership something. I think Lockheed was the company that it was connected to. So you know, I've always said, I said this with SOUN, which I'm going to cover very shortly, but when an unknown random 4 letters all of a sudden is connected with these big blue chip level names, oh man, that does some crazy things, all right? And you know, it obviously did it already. It actually took us from that 21 range that we were at to all the way up here. And I know there are people that banked around the 40. We actually had an entire next day to do it too, and an entire next day to do it, right? So we have been living up here, and in a lot of ways that shows a lot of strength. And let's start talking about my thoughts from Monday onward, right? First and foremost, I already talked about it. I'm respecting this purple line. Okay, I know this looks like a good little moment, but let's just kind of look at that string real quick, all right? I don't even need to zoom in. We get one big candle, and then not as good, and then a whole mess of red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green. We never really do a beautiful back-to-back and fly. You know what I mean? So even with this little moment, and then as I zoom back out all the way to that 2022, I'm seeing a stock that's never been over that purple line convincingly enough, all right? From there, we actually have only attacked it once since. I'm clicking into this date and you can see it. We close right here, that green number on top, 108. The line was at 107. You can see average 200 was at 107 that day, right? So once we were able to close over it, and obviously you see what happens under, right? I gotta respect the line. I do, especially when you get 2 dojis right on the line. And look, this isn't enough for me to, like, you know, scream, worry, and ring that bell, right? But I'll be honest, I gotta start to believe we're coming down to 33 cents. All right. I think the top of this Monday, the 25th candle, is probably, you know, I'm not here pretending I know the math behind these lines, right? Like, I just kind of look at the slope and there you go. I think Monday, we're probably going to open around that 33 cent on the 8 moving average. So to me, that's the first number that needs to hold. From there, the next number that needs to hold is going to be 27. All right. If we start to lose that 27, I actually can see it being a pretty fast drop into these low 20s, all right? But again, even going from this 38 all the way down to my 27 worry could be a big, scary drop for a lot of people, all right? You're basically giving up a dime on a stock that only has 3 dimes, right? So, you know, what am I looking for? Obviously, one more time, it's this break of the 200, right? Here's where we're going to start drawing some lines. This is going to be a real big line, okay? And believe me when I say this, this is a real insignificant green candle in essentially a sea of red, 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 red. I always say that this gap fill border, literally this borderline between down here and up here, right? This is a hard line to break. It is. So if you're not in, I think it's very, very respectful to wait until 47. Look, the 200 moving average is sitting at 42 cents. Maybe you can arguably get in at 43 and maybe jump out around 47 if that's a little bit of a hard wall. I think there's a decent 10% in that, right? But for me, I think the better move would be wait to break this 47. And man, I think I would be drawing my line right there. I think some might say down here, I don't think that 59 will hold. I think it's worth having this number in your back pocket, 59, because you can see there's like a little bit of a hit right there too. But yeah, I think that 70 is a bigger number. It's definitely this longer line, half that guy. I would love to trade 47 even till 59, let alone break that and run to the 70, right? So I think that's the money line. I think one more time, I would start to worry under 33 cents, because from there, yeah, 27 might hold, but yeah, my fear would be it doesn't, because again, that's pretty much a red, 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 green, green, green. It could be a red, red, red. Kitty, what are you doing? She's making some noise back there. Sorry. So, KULR. I'm worried about this RSI, and you kind of saw it as I zoomed out, right? We find ourselves peaking up here and then dropping. We hit and drop, hit and drop, hit and drop, hit and drop, hit and drop. There hasn't really been much sustainability up in the high 80s. This is a stock that fears these high 80s, right? Again, maybe the Lockheed is a good thing. Maybe this screenshot's actually a good thing, right? There's so many maybes. To me, everything's a maybe until this 200 moving average breaks, all right? So I think the last thing I want to end it on, this thing needs 30 million shares traded. I know that's significantly higher. I know at times I would even probably say even 20 might be okay. I want 30. All right. And if I want 30 million shares, what does that mean? In 30 million divided by a 7-hour trading day, I need 4.3 million shares in the first hour, roughly 9, maybe even 10 million by that second hour of trading. All right. So that's what I'm expecting. We need big volume. It took big volume to escape these lines. You better believe it's going to need monster volume to escape the biggest, baddest, the scariest of the lines. All right. So let's quickly take a look at the weekly. I mean, again, right, I can see this dropping here. And again, that's that 30-cent line I just talked about on the other one. I think I said 31, right? So hopefully this doesn't go below. Look, this is a good weekly chart, actually. Have we gotten... Oh, man. We've once, it looks like, gotten higher. This got to an 80, actually. That's a real nice 70. That's a real nice divergence on both. And obviously, that's monster volume, right? So, oh, man. Look, again, 47, I think, is the money line. I do. You can see on the weekly, the average 50 is at 46, right? So even that 47, that'll get us over on the weekly resistance, clearly over the daily resistance. I like that 47 money line for more, all right? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Correct me if I'm wrong on anything or if there's any news I missed. Let's take a look at SoundHound. All right, really quickly, if you can please subscribe, please share these videos. Oh, man, that share click does so much for the algorithms, all right? So there's some scary things happening. All right, there are. And believe me when I say this, that in itself is a two-sided coin answer, because again, I've been covering SoundHound for a while. I've got to know a lot of the longs and strongs. I legit remember talking about this stock back here at the this moment, and even this, we've been talking about SoundHound for sub 2s for a while. So when I say bad things are happening and I'm afraid of it coming down to 5 and stuff, I know there are people laughing right now, all right? The other side is, look, the NVIDIA investment brought in a lot of new money. And hopefully some of that new money came in around 5. I know a good amount of it came in the 7s and stuff. And look, Nvidia is planning on going long, right? So that kind of should mean that hopefully you are too if you bought based on Nvidia, right? But I think I'm still seeing and thinking short-term pain, all right? First and foremost, there is a death cross, all right? You want the smaller one to go above. Ooh, my throat. Sorry, I gotta pause this and get water. I'm so sorry. Oh, my apologies. Sorry about that. Okay, death cross. Golden cross is when a small one goes above. We just had a small one go below a bigger one, right? The 8 went below the 20. So that's never a good thing. Sorry, I had to close my door. I think my cat just vomited some grass. Interesting. That's never a good thing to see, right? Especially when we were living the complete opposite of that not too long ago, right? So this death cross is an easy thing to focus on. I know I talked about it on the last video. Clearly it came to fruition here, right? That's starting to get a little worrisome. And, you know, there is still time to save it before it gets into the negative. And I think that's what should happen. But I think we're still going to drop a little bit. I do. And I think that's kind of coming from this RSI. I think the RSI has just been sitting a little too close. And I think it's kind of getting ready to come down into this, like, low 40, high 30s. It's been there before. It actually was living in that not too long ago, and clearly it was actually living a lot lower not too long ago, right? So even coming down to that like 30, 40, hey, even like, oh, we're at 50 right now. Man, if this thing can hold 50, that'd be nice. I will say that, because obviously that's a beautiful like incline story. Still, I see this coming down. I do, and I do think that we're going to come to this line. I don't see much strength right here. Is there something on the weekly that I'm missing? All right. I mean, the 8 moving average is there on the weekly. Where are you at? 535. Oops, wrong button. Sorry. 535. That's what I wanted to click. Where's 535? That is this. That's this half candle right there. Get out of here. Oh, man, I don't believe that this... Like, look, you've seen me talk about 50% candles often, right? I don't think that's the one that's going to do it. I don't. I think this line is here for a reason because it's half of the bigger one, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this weekly support is actually going to hold. I'm not going to lie. The RSI here is kind of saying maybe. Give me a little bit of a belief, but I don't know. I don't know. Man, I don't know. I don't know if it's foolish to go against the weekly 8. Let's see if I'm wrong here. I'm actually a little excited to learn. But yeah, I still see this 50 moving average working its way up. I see this 50 moving average getting to this line, give or take. I see us coming there. I think both the combination of those two should hold, all right? Volume has not been good, but we have not seen crazy sell-offs. All of these bad days have essentially been just above or pretty much under the 50-day average, right? So one of these candles in any of one of these days would have been significantly worse. So the lack of volume was actually kind of a good thing right here, actually. But look, again, I'm saying it one more time. I very much might be wrong. This weekly is saying we're not going to go below 530-ish. Let's just say 530. I think we're going down to 5, let alone 475. I'm saying it with such a hesitation. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Let's cover Cron and VFF. I'm so sorry. You know what? Let me give these some love. I'm going to make them their own video right now. All right. Hey, I appreciate you all so much.